for more on this. France 24's international affairs commentator Douglas Herbert joins me on set. Hi there, Doug.
How are you?
Well, we know that there's an official reason, of course, behind this mission, but these missions also have some very real concerns at hand about this new government.
Yeah, and the major concern on everyone's mind is this government actually going to hold? Is it going to stick to its problems of being a so-called moderate, inclusive government, a government that respects the rights of minorities? This is all a work in progress right now. Let's not forget that the HTS, which leads the coalition of rebel groups that toppled Bashar Assad, basically, yeah, they've changed their stripes, in recent weeks and since coming to power. And they, they've talked the talk about inclusivity and moderation and reconciliation with all of these diverse patchwork of groups in Syria. But the West is still, and perhaps you could argue rightfully, responsibly skeptical. So this mission, yeah, they are there. The French and the German foreign ministers, right, at a time where France and Germany are not exactly the heavyweights in Europe that they once were. At least the optics aren't the same as they were even a couple of months ago. These are both two states in right now precarious positions. But that said, they are still at the center of Europe. They're the first high-level European mission there. They have an outstretched hand, but clear expectations. The big concerns, what are they? Cutting to the chase a minute after you asked me the question. The big concerns is they don't want vengeance. They're going to tell HTS, and presumably they have. They said, no acts of vengeance. Do not just go after willy-nilly all the former members of the old regime. You have to have reconciliation to some extent. Hold your elections sooner rather than later. Don't keep putting elections off. Timely elections, not delayed elections. They don't know the timeline right now for elections, new elections for Syria. And please, HTS, this is the other message, please avoid taking steps that might Islamicize, i.e. anything that smacks of Sharia-style law, the justice, the judicial systems, and the education systems. You might say, well, those are pretty reasonable asks, not really heavy lifts. But they are heavy lifts when you're walking into a chaotic situation such as the one born of the fall of Bashar Assad in a patchwork mosaic of different minorities who are now all struggling for influence and control against the backdrop of some malign global players, right? A lot of foreign actors also wanting influence there. So aside from the U.S. and Europe, you also have Turkey, dominant player in the region. You have Russia and Iran, both in their own way seen as losers from the fall of Assad, each trying to save face in their own way. And on Syrian soil itself, you have battles and skirmishes among various rebel groups. It is a really tough, challenging, heavy lift right now. One of the things they're probably going to ask, we might not hear it explicitly asked, is they want Russia to leave its military bases on the Mediterranean coast. And whether or not that's going to happen is another wait and see. My bet is Russia is in no rush to get out of there from either Tartus or Khmeimim, where it has its air base and its naval base. It wants to stay, and HTS, the group there, is going to be very careful before it turns its back and alienates Russia. I think they're going to try to play both powers each way. They know that Russia could serve potentially also as a counterweight, a counter-influence to potential U.S./European interference, if you will, in a post-Assad Syria. So boy, is it complicated. And when I say watch this space and we don't know what's going to happen, I literally mean that. I'm not being glib. We do not know what's going to happen. We do not know what is going to emerge from the various talks, the rebel factions, whether there will be that conciliation that Europe is so much praying for and hoping for.
A lot of domestic concerns and international concerns then for this new government to grapple with. Douglas Herbert, thank you very much.